So, hi guys, my name is Wieremjewicz. I'm a senior product manager at Percona, and I'm taking care of software for, distributions for MongoDB and for PostgreSQL. This is a presentation for roadmap for Percona, software for MongoDB. So we will cover that later, that why am I talking about software, not distribution only. Let's get it going. A quick disclaimer, I am not looking for a typical roadmap presentation when somebody comes in and shows what exactly is going to happen. What I would like to do is to recap on what we did, on the benefits that you may not witnessed, and get some feedback, some answers from you, and for this session to be as interactive as possible. So if you feel that you have questions, go ahead and ask them. I will ask questions to you as well, definitely later on. This roadmap that we are showing are plans, the way we see that they can happen. That does not necessarily mean that they will happen. The further into the future we go, the more probable the changes are. Recapping a bit on yesterday's presentation from Anne, I just wanted to emphasize that we believe in open world and open source databases, and we hope that the freedom that the open source brings is something that boosts, accelerates the innovation for everyone everywhere. These are the values that Percona lives by, and we hope to keep on doing it this way. So let's set some expectations about this roadmap presentation. I'm going to cover a bit about us, as you've seen. We are going to provide some information about why and what do we provide for Mongo, how do we think about databases, and we are going to look at our plans and how do we go from here to there to implementing them. And I'm really asking for your feedback, as something I have witnessed as a product manager in an open source environment is that open source unfortunately doesn't mean that the community comments back and takes active participation in technical previews or in decision-making process for the future of the products. I'm hoping to change that together with you, with our community, so that we can decide what's best for the products we make and go further together and providing the best solutions out there. One of the things we are missing the most is data, is to understand how you use the products, not basing on anecdotes and singular discussions, but on more aggregated information. So how do we look at databases? We look, as Vadim today has shown, at three core building blocks. The first of them being one we hear not only for databases, for operators as well, is the most important one for organizations. So it's security. The other one, well, without security, you would not use the product most likely. So you want the data to be stored securely with appropriate mechanisms for securing it. But at the same time, if the database would not perform and your queries wouldn't execute as quickly as the apps needed, the database would not scale to accommodate the growth. The database wouldn't be useful either. And the third one is availability. So no database is going to be useful if it's not available. But these are not the only blocks. These are the blocks that typically are covered by the distributions, but there is more software. When you think about it, the fact that the database works properly or not, and to control to monitor its behavior is a crucial element of a healthy enterprise setup. To deploy and to be successful with the day zero operations is very crucial for the adoption of the software. And if you look at the way that the developers work, it's going to be very important for them to know how to connect to the database, to have it handled in a most easy way, to configure the database structures and prepare it for the app usage. Last decade, we have seen a big trend for automation, and it did not leave databases alone. So basically, how do I automate everything around here so that I can speed up the management? And obviously, we have seen yesterday during the keynote how platforms are the trend currently. So how is the platform applicable here? So depending on the role you're going to have a different vector to access this. And of course, DBAs will look at the monitoring data. Applications developers will rather focus on how to access the database, how to build the structure they need for the application. DevOps will work around automation. And if you're infrastructure admin, you will look at the deployment and platform applicability. So where do we come in as Percona? We have tools that address the core values, obviously. We have also a set of tools that address the other layers as we see them. So to quickly learn about the audience here, do you use Percona Server for MongoDB here? Nice. And do you use Percona Backup for MongoDB? Nice, even better. So do you use Percona distribution for MongoDB? This is that okay? Thank you for this. So a quick look in the past. Why do we at all invest in MongoDB software? There is a phrase that you can see throughout the conference. It's hard to scale a mountain without appropriate tools. It plays very nicely with our new branding. It plays very nicely with Denver setup as well. And it actually gives a very good description of why did we invest in MongoDB software. So you can go ahead and scale a mountain without any security, free soloing the mountain. Of course, it requires a lot of experience, a lot of work, preparation. It has risks with it. But even then, you use some sort of tools to make this work for you. So the way we look at MongoDB, it provides free software for everybody to use, for everybody to grow with, to scale to production. But is it enough? Is it something you can scale to a mountain feeling securely? We don't believe so. So we actually expanded the community edition with features that we felt were necessary for any enterprise or production workloads. We expanded the capabilities of freely available backup. We also have an operator for you to use your databases on Kubernetes. And we do provide a freely available open source Percona monitoring and management for you to control your environment. All of these, except of Percona Server for MongoDB, are open source. A Percona Server for MongoDB inherits the SSPL license from the upstream, so it is source available only. And this isn't something that is by our decision. So looking at the past, what we provided for Percona Server for MongoDB and why do we feel is better than Community Edition. It is a drop-in replacement for Community Edition. It started off with providing in-memory storage engine, encryption, and LDAP, which are very cherished by the community of our users. Later on, it introduced backup cursors that, well, I do not expect users to be using actively unless they create backup tools, as we do with PBM. So those backup cursors actually allow extended capabilities of Percona backup for MongoDB. They also mean that not all of the capabilities of Percona backup for MongoDB are applicable to Community Edition because they are missing there. And the next features, as you can see, are addressing security, both KMIP and HashiCorp Vault, and AWS AIM. KMIP. It's a key management interoperability protocol. It allows for the database to speak with the key management systems that use this widely adopted protocol for communication. We also have, as mentioned, Percona backup for MongoDB. And to quickly look at the history, we started off with sharding support. So as you may know, Percona backup for MongoDB allows sharded clusters backup and restore, which is not possible fully with MongoDump and Mongo Restore, as they do not support fully the sharded collections restoration. Point-in-time recovery automation, and later on some more backup management features, as cleaning up the old backups and so forth, were very, very helpful for our community. But I believe is the physical backups and incremental backups that actually made the biggest difference. Physical backups are already included in MongoDB operator, yet not GA. They will be GA soon. So having a quick look into the physical backups and incremental backups, is there anybody in the room who already uses them? Very nice. So we have some active users. That's very good. So just to recap for the ones who didn't use them, and even for the ones who use them. So first of all, we introduced the logical backup and restore based on MongoDB provided MongoDump and Mongo Restore. As I mentioned, we started by automating the sharding support so that you can use it on sharded clusters with sharded collections. Later on, we introduced the physical backup and restore, and it went to GA last October. And the reason we did it is we noticed up to 5 times increment in the way it handles the restore of the database. Then we figured, what can we do to make physical backup and restore faster? And we invested into parallel download for the restore process. And we saw up to 19 times improvement between those. This is already included in 2.1 PBM. And you may notice the speed improvement. So when you actually multiply one by another, this isn't done on, the testing hasn't been done on the same data sets, so maybe it isn't 100% accurate, but it's up to 95 times improvement, depending on the data that you handle. So it's like comparing a giant tortoise to a home spider, please excuse me if anybody has arachnophobia, to a cheetah. So this is the way it improves the restoration process. So we know that security is one of the most important aspects of databases. It's one of the core building blocks. And we have introduced both AWS IAM integration for passwordless access to your database with AWS integration. And we also introduced KMS integration, as I mentioned before, that allows for using any key management system that implements KMIP. And here is a question. Is anybody in the room using actually KMS integration with any of the vaults that are not listed out by us? So this is one of the places where we are looking for feedback, because we introduced the integration, and as a company, we tested it with a couple of key management systems. Obviously, we cannot test with all. And as I look at open source and as an open community, the feedback from the community, oh, we use it, it works. We use it, it doesn't work, is something we need. We need to know whether this is successful and what can we do for this to be better. So this is I actually jumped the gun with the question, sorry for that. So we have an integration with HashiCorp Vault that is tested, and we have customers using that already. We also know that customers use our software with Thales, based on KMIP, Thales Vault. We also introduced monitoring and management improvements in the last year from the last Percona Live. So one of those is the first version of backup management. For now, these backups work only from PMM, so you already get a sort of UI-driven backup management capability. It is not yet fully integrated with the way the PBM used to work, so if you want to adopt it, you will basically have to start with it a new backup strategy. We will, as I will show in the later slides, work on making this fully integrated. So a quick focus now on the future and what we will be aiming at with the upcoming months. And hopefully, during the next Percona Live, I'll be able to show you the results and talk about the next increments. So, does anybody in the room use snapshots for your backups? Here you go. So, we see snapshots as a great improvement to the speed at which you can restore the database. The problem that we see with it is having a consistent restore after on a sharded environment. So what we want to do, and what we are currently working on, and soon will introduce, is a full support for Percona backup for MongoDB to use any snapshots you created previously, and to actually have a full support for both backing up and restoring, basing on snapshots that you may create in your environments. So during the last year, have you required in your line of work a partial restoration of a database, saying only one collection? So for now, this is only possible with logical backups. As we know, logical backups are not necessarily applicable to a very large data set. If your collection is 2 terabytes, it doesn't necessarily have to be the most pleasant experience. So what we are investing now is to also address the large data sets, to be able to restore a subset of a database based on a physical backup. That would mean, if we succeed with snapshots, having a partial recovery from snapshot maybe as well. Could we possibly speed up the scaling or the startup? I know that some of you already tried physical backups for MongoDB that are basing on file copying right now. So what if we actually tried to use the file copy for initial sync, the way that MongoDB does it in an enterprise version? So not only allowing you to quickly add a new node, but also start up after recovery. Backup scheduling. So this was a decision we've had for a while, that we're going to backup for MongoDB is not handling scheduling. It's rather a tool you include into your scheduler. So we noticed that most of the Linux-based deployments were using cron and actually felt very satisfied with this approach. Although customers coming from MongoDB expect scheduling as well. So we are working towards providing scheduling out of PMM now. So this is something you can already witness with what we call PMM managed backups. And this is something we will also include into the full integration into PBM. Yes?
So you're going to wind up making PMM be very important, but it stays up 100.
Yes. PMM then is going to have to basically have a high availability.
And from what I understand, it doesn't really do that right now.
It doesn't really do that right now. This isn't a part of this roadmap presentation for the reason it's not targeting only PMM, but I can tell you that PMM high availability is something that we are actively looking into and working on. So this is one of the important factors for PMM.
Short term, what happens if PMM is down? Will the scheduled backups still kick off, or are they?
So right now, as I believe, they are in the queue. So they should launch. The plan for the future is that basically they always are in all of the backups are in the queue. Although having existing implementations of PBM on cron means that it will have our integration will have to work both ways, both providing if you want to use our scheduler or maybe you would prefer to use your own. So even without HA, or if you do not trust, or if you did not deploy PMM in HA, which is possible, why not? You can still use cron and be sure that backups are done there. So we're also investing into backup management, as I said. So basically seeing the inventory of your backups and the coverage that they have, and monitoring whether the backups happened, having others if they did not, cloning your database based on backup to another environment. Those things are coming to PMM again, hopefully by the next Percona Live, hopefully even this year. Although this is something we are exploring step by step. So one of the things that is also on our radar is environments overview. So when I open my PMM, I want to see what I have deployed. So basically inventory of what I do have, and I want to be sure that I can I want to make myself calm every morning by looking, okay, environments are working, backups are working, and this together with backup management hopefully achieves that. Yes.
What about some sort of a topology map? Have you ever seen Orchestrator for MySQL?
So topology map is something very interesting, although I do not think that it is currently on the plans for the very near future. We will revise this as soon as we deliver this. The question is how long will it take us to cover this topic? But yes.
I would strongly suggest checking out Orchestrator for MySQL. It's industry practice.
Okay.
Standard kind of thing. And the way it handles, shows, and presents topology, like it also handles failovers, but you don't have to use it to that. It can purely be for monitoring, showing error transactions, data,
okay,
all sorts of
stuff. That is a really interesting topic, and we
in PMM for Mongo, I think would be excellent.
I think it will be an excellent feature for any database monitoring in PMM. But that's a very good comment, and I'm already satisfying some of my greedy needs of having feedback from the community. So thank you for this. I needed a slide that looks at least a bit like a roadmap because it's a roadmap presentation. There will be a second one about operators because they are one of the things that are missing on this particular roadmap. So I've covered what we are working on now, looking at restoring from snapshots, the file copy-based initial sync, what we want to do also for physical backups and backup management and monitoring. What we all want to cover next is more snapshot automation and easier physical point-in-time recovery, as it is now currently possible, but it requires a bit of more manual work than the logical one. We want to focus later on a cluster-to-cluster sync, on backup anomaly detection. We want to have the MongoDB as a service. So we want you to be able to deploy your own services based on our software. And one of the things I would hope that we could achieve is actually maybe use snapshots for initial sync. Having initial sync even faster on huge environments would be amazing. What's missing? Is there something missing for you guys? There's something missing for me here. There's something missing for Jan, for the product manager of our software. I will tell you what, but I want to first hear your thoughts.
Just as a sort of an answer to a previous slide, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You asked about key management.
Yeah.
Again, I got one client that uses Vault, but I don't see it quite that often, surprisingly. One of my more advanced clients, it's actually not client, my wife, they use Burglist for all of their secrets. They're a very solid shop. and they're super happy with that.
What was the name of that?
Or GCP.
Ah, okay.
They use GCP's built-in secret management. They use Fergaless.
Okay. So this is some. So the first question is whether it can speak KMIP.
That I'm not sure. I have no idea.
Okay. So again, something. May I ask Michal here to take notes? Yeah, he's checking. Okay, perfect. Thank you again. Anybody else?
Kind of a so Percona Extra Backup, right?
Yeah.
MySQL.
Yeah.
It works for Community Edition and Enterprise and
Yeah. I see where you're going. The fact is that for our backups to work for Community Edition, we would need to have Community Edition accept our changes. Yeah, this.
is there any way to do it without that?
I will actually, an idea that popped into my head after our conversation, I will reach out to their community manager and actually try to go from the community aspect rather than from the product aspect. That community would actually benefit if our backups were able to work on the community edition.
Want to a lot of our clients actually don't use Perconas.
Yeah, I understand. Although, as I mentioned before, we really appreciate how MongoDB Community Edition works. It's an amazing database. Although, in our perspective, it lacks capabilities for production use, which are mostly around security. So, since those are the differentiators for MongoDB's business for enterprise, I would not expect them, including Vault and LDAP and so forth. So, being a drop-in replacement, there is just that much oil we can burn on trying to push particular changes to enable PBM into Community Edition, where there is a very quick, easy, workaround by dropping in a database of ours there. So to cover what I'm missing is telemetry, is adoption information, is automated information, how you guys use our software. So I see a very strong resistance for sharing information about configurations. On the other hand, if it's sanitized and the sanitization is open source, sharing the information even from an airtight environment, air-gapped environment, if you would just yourself take the file, sanitize it, and send it over, would make our life so much easier to understand whether there are features we actually have in our software that are not used. Maybe you should sunset something and instead of maintaining it and therefore wasting effort if it's not used, put this effort into developing something you guys would need more. Are there things that you guys use at the same time in a way that we did not think is possible? I just learned one of the customers is using our backup to back up and restore databases way bigger than we ever thought possible with it. Like, this is great. Like, this is like giving a hammer to somebody and seeing them doing something totally weird with it, which is great, which is something we learned by accident, let's say. Why can't we have this in a more automated, scalable way that we learn about all the deployments? This is something I see a resistance based on privacy, but if it's aggregated, it's no longer allowing anybody to detect it's you. So this is something I hope we can think how we can do better. So this is something I hope we can put on a roadmap and have community look at it and say whether this is something they can live with. I'm afraid that I'm new to open source. So as I see it, coming from enterprise software, proprietary software, it always has it built in. Nobody knows it's there. Or they know and can see the data that is being exported, but basically cannot opt out if they want to have support, yada, yada, yada. Anyways, if you have support, if you're our customer, the first ticket you create, you send us some configurations as well. So having this from the community that aren't our customers, are using our software for free, which is we want them to do, giving back this information is a very small token of appreciation, I think, that we could ask for. So at least this is in my view. I'm hoping to plant seeds in everybody who watches this so that they can sleep on it and hopefully when we come up with something, it will be lightly taken.
And that's notes.
Of course.
So as you know, a lot of people are leery about punching through firewalls, of course, to share info. Maybe it's somehow easier for them to, as you say, seek or get the information.
Yeah.
Maybe you have an online forum or something somewhere.
That was the idea, to have an easy export tool, most likely, a way to sanitize it, a way to review what the data would be, and an easy way to supply it. And
maybe even an online forum on your website.
Yeah.
There was and then for backups, like the scheduling and you review of your backups.
Yeah.
What the person has. I would even maybe go an extra step and suggest some backup methodologies, like, plan one, idea one, schedule one, whatever, hourlies,
so templates, basically.
Templates, yeah. Hourlies, daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly.
Yeah, that's something. That's something that we already thought. So when you create a backup, so how can we make sure that the beginning user knows what would be the best and what are the implications of the current decisions that they made? So this is something that can come up as a next step after having a properly working backup management, like a add-on feature to actually make it easier for people to learn based on our expertise as well.
Yeah, because that's the problem, right? A lot of times, like, we have clients that just don't have the experience, and if we can give them sort of one button, and even for the people that do, we can give them one button you click, kind of set up.
It's I agree, and having a clear information as well, monitoring wise, about I don't know, for a point in time recovery, when was the last physical backup you took? How much replay will you have if you actually have to restore? How much expected RPO, RTO is there? These could be things that are really beneficial as well. We see that this is a part of backup monitoring that hopefully will make it its way to PM.
And if you want to be really slick, we only deal mainly with 3 clouds, right? Granted, some people are in their own, but if you could even give like estimated costs based on the sizing data and how backups a particular plane might keep.
That is a great idea, although I'm afraid that it will not make it to the next year. But it is a nice vision to have, and I agree about that. So one question here: is anybody running their databases on Kubernetes? Nice, we have somebody doing that in the room. Thank you for being so upfront about it. Here's some data, and hopefully, I understand not every database is ready to be run on Kubernetes. Kubernetes isn't perfect for every database deployment. Although, as I see it, there's either misconception about, we need to run everything on Kubernetes, or a misconception, we cannot run anything on Kubernetes. There is a sweet spot in between, like analyzing whether you have the know-how, analyzing what are your databases, how big they are, how often, how many there is, and then deciding that based on making a decision based on facts. So one of the things we are missing that is a significant challenge is day 2 operations with operators. This data here is based on the DOK data on Kubernetes report. If you have not checked this report out, it's freely available. I highly recommend it to anybody. It's full of really interesting facts for anybody in the database business. Like, I have to say, this was an amazing read. And the next one is coming this year. The DOK community is open and free to join. There's a lot of information in there. And I believe that if anybody uses it on Kubernetes and plans to use it, this is a source of arguments to do it and to or to not do it, to think about it. So with this intro, we also do have a Percona operator for MongoDB, which recently included physical backups with the recent version. They are not yet GA. We are hoping to have incremental backups and physical backups GA in quarter 3. and have point-in-time recovery with physical backups in quarter 4. More automated scaling, investment into multi-cloud simplicity, and more about the day 2 operations is something we're hoping to achieve in 2024 as well. So this operator is currently very, very capable, is widely adopted in the community, and I believe with those improvements, it's going to really make a difference. One thing that is not here, that is also something I'm hoping to push into 2024, if we succeed with Snapshot basically being able to be used for backup and restore, this is something that would make a great change for the operators as well. So hopefully this is something that will make it this way as well. So last thing, questions? We've had some already. If there are none, there's one more thing I want to ask you. So Joe wasn't able to join us today, so I took liberty and included him in this slide. So Joe is our community manager, and both me and him would want you guys to contribute not only code, contribution of your feedback, contribution of whether what you're doing is right. If you like something, it's also fine to contribute. We want to know that what we do is meaningful to you. So visiting our forums, visiting our blogs is something that is an easy way, hopefully easy, for you to help us. And with this, if you have any comments for me, sorry, there's the last slide I cannot get to. Anyways, the one with contact details for some reason. Oh, here we go. So if you have any feedback for me, you can catch me here on the conference. But if not, I'm open to contact. Here's my email address. Feel free to drop an email to me, and we can schedule a call, have a discussion. You can meet the developers that actually work on the software that you use. We are really open to having a good relationship with our users and with our customers to actually provide what they need. And with this, thank you for the participation and for listening to me babbling around. And have a great event.